Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to the channel. Ever seen those super sleek Apple travel ads and thought, wow, I wish I could make that? Well, today is your lucky day. In this tutorial, I'm going to break down exactly how you can create this stunning Apple style travel motion graphic right here in Adobe After Effects. And trust me, it's much easier than you think. So let's dive in and create some magic. So we are here in Adobe After Effects. So you can see all the layers, different colors with different layers. So I have separated each layer with different colors so you don't get messed up with the composition. So let's quickly turn off all the layers so you don't get messed up with all the composition. Okay, let's turn off these layers quickly. Let's turn on our first layer, which is basically a solid layer. You can go to layer, go to new and just add the solid layer. And for the solid settings, let's go to layer, click on solid settings, and just I have used the bright creamish color for this. You can go with any color you want, but this color suits for this composition. Okay, hit okay, hit OK again. And for the composition size, let's quickly see our composition size, which is 1920 by 1080, and the frame rate is 30 frames per second, and the duration set to around 4.23 seconds, and just this is okay. Hit OK. Now let's turn on our second layer, which is a base shape layer. You can see the black shape. So just go to rectangle tool. You can use the rounded rectangle tool, or you can use the regular rectangle tool. Okay, you can go with anyone you want. And now for the fill, just choose the fill to maybe not too much black, maybe a charcoal black color for this. Okay, and make sure the stroke is turned off. Okay, and just make a perfect shape like this. And for the roundness, let's go to properties and just set the roundness to around 85, and the size you can see 800 by 360. Okay, this is the size of this rectangle. Perfect. And now on this shape, I have applied effects called drop shadow effect. You can see the settings of the shadow color is black, and the direction set to 175 degree, and the opacity set to 40%, and the distance set to 20, softness set to 35. Okay, so this gives the results like this. Okay, so yeah, this was our shape. So let's quickly break down all the layers by layers, and after that I will explain the animation, how I did the animation for each layer. Okay, so let's quickly turn on our third layer, which is basically you can see a PNG layer I have downloaded from the flaticon.com. so let's quickly select this layer and just go to effect controls. I have applied the tint effect for set its color from black to green color for this, and on this I have applied the quite deep glow effect. You can use the same settings of deep glow as you like, and the blend mode set to add, and you can pick the settings according to you like for your perfect results. Okay, so yeah, now let's quickly turn on our next layer. You can see the yellow shape. For this shape I have used the regular rectangle tool and just set the roundness. Let's go to properties and set the roundness to 30%. Just change the fill color to around this color, and make sure the stroke is turned on with the width value to about 2 pixels and the color set to white. Okay, and now on this yellow shape, let's turn on our text layer. You can see the now text on this layer. We can see the text set to now. You can see the text. And now let's get back to our yellow shape layer, and on this shape layer I have applied a deep glow effect and the fast box blur with the value of something around maybe 3. You can see, and just set the blur dimension to horizontal and vertical, and yeah, like this. And you can see the deep glow effect also on this. You can apply the same setting as mine. Okay, so yeah, this was our shapes. Let's turn on our next layer, which is a loader. You can see the green loader over here. I have used the regular rectangle tool, and on this I have set the roundness to something around 405, and you can see the size of this 705 by 41.5. You can see, and for the color I have used this dark green, not too much green dark. I have set this around green. Okay, and now I have duplicated this same loader layer and renamed it to loader mask. I will explain it afterwards how and why I named this as a mask. Okay, let's set it to default, turned off only. Let's quickly turn on our next layer, which is a loader 2 layer, and on this you can see the same. I have duplicated the same layer, but the color is changed to a bright green color. Okay, and now let's quickly turn on this layer, which is called corner ellipse layer. So let's quickly turn on this layer too. So you can see the 2 ellipses layer are here. So this first one dedicated to this ellipse, black ellipse. You can see this. Let's zoom in, and the second one is this black ellipse. Okay, I have set both to separate corners like this. Okay, now let's turn on our next layer, which is a white ellipse layer. So you can see the white ellipse around here. I have set it to around this corner, rounded corner here. Now let's turn on our next layer, which is an ellipse stroke. So basically using the ellipse tool and the stroke turned to a linear gradient, and I've used these colors. You can use any color you like, but this color suits too much, so I've used these three colors. Okay, and for the ellipse stroke, go to effects. I have used the deep glow effect. You can copy the settings as mine. Just stick with the settings, just play with the settings according to like. The more tweaking, the more perfect you get the results. Okay, now let's quickly turn on our text layer. So I have added a text at this frame. Next, the same, I have duplicated the text layer and just set it around in the middle of the frame. And now let's turn on our next text layer, and for the text I have set it to here, something around at this corner. Okay, so our slider comes from the first like Toronto, then in the middle it crosses the Vancouver and just it goes to Ottawa. Okay, so basically it's a train route animation. Okay, now lastly our final effects. I have added an adjustment layer. Go to layer, go to new and just add an adjustment layer, and I have renamed it as a final effects, and on this I have applied a sharpen effect, set it to amount 12, and the noise effect set to 3 pixels or 3%, and just uncheck the noise type to color noise. Okay, now the time for animation process. So what I have done, just animated the mask first. So let's see our mask animation first, or a black shape animation. So first of all, just select all the layers, just holding shift, select all the layers except the black shape layer, and just parent it or track matte to it to black shape layer. So, and also just set the track matte to all the layers to black shape, and also parent all the links to the black shape. So whenever you give the animation to the black shape, all things animate with that. Okay, around that. Perfect. Now for the animation, let's hit U to see their keyframes. Now for the animation, I have used all the properties, the position property, the scale property, the rotation property, and the opacity properties. So it comes from the above, something around here, out of the composition. Let's zoom out. You can see the frames. So it comes like this. So at the starting, you can see the properties value, the position set to around this frame, the scale set to 51, the rotation set to -64, and the opacity set to 0. Afterwards, set it to default, where it in the middle of the composition. Okay, so and just select your keyframes, and I have applied the bounce effect or bounce script. Just use the bounce R script. The script link will be given in the description down below. Just set the property to selected and just set the expression to overshoot, and just click on bounce, and your animation will get a cool bounce effect. And in the effect controls, just set the bounce amplitude to 35, and you will get the proper result like this animation. Okay, now so I have set the reverse at last. You can see the reverse animation. Just I have changed the position from in the beginning it was from above, it was coming from above, and at last it goes at down. Okay, just tweak the position, something like this. Perfect. Now hit U to again hide the keyframes. Now for the train PNG, hit U to see the keyframes. So for the train PNG, I have set the position animation comes from above, something like this, out of the box, something like this. And the same I have applied the bounce effect with the 35 amplitude. You can see the 35 amplitude, and it comes from like this, and after that it goes back to its normal position. Okay, so basically I have track matte all the layers to the black shapes, so it gets out of the box and still it's invisible. Okay, you can see it's invisible out of the box. Okay, so just track matte all the layers and set the matte to alpha matte. Okay, so yeah, and the same as like previous, the reverse animation, it goes back to this. Okay, hit U to hide their keyframes. Now for the yellow shape and the text layer, just select both the layers, hit U to see their keyframes, and for this I have parented the now text layer to the yellow shape layer and parented it to this. So I have set the position animation for both the text and the yellow shape layer. So it comes from the right, something like this. It comes from the right and it goes back to its normal position. Okay, and again I have applied the bounce effect on this, the same with the amplitude of 35. Okay, so it comes like this from the right, and again it goes like this. Okay, now hit U to hide their keyframes. Now at next, let's set the loader. So hit U to see the loader keyframes, and now you can see the position and opacity. So for the loader, I have used the position keyframe, so where it comes from left to the at this position. You can see, let's preview the animation. So yeah, so like this. So first let's quickly turn off all the layers first so you don't get confused. So the first loader is our this dark green loader. The position animation and the opacity animation, so it comes at around this frame. So the position set to around -853 to 35.4 and the opacity set to 0, and afterwards just set it to around here, something like this. And after that the reverse animation will be like this. Okay, and on this again I've applied the bounce effect with the amplitude of 35. Okay, so our animation will look like this. Perfect. Now let's quickly turn on our loader 2 layer, not this loader mask. So for this I have duplicated this loader 1 layer and renamed it as loader mask, and again I have duplicated it to loader 2 and just I have set the loaders track mat set to loader 1. Okay, loader 1. So basically the loader 2 layer is the bright green, you can see bright green shape. So the bright green shapes comes like this. So I have applied the same animation like loader 1 from the left to the right, something like this, and the opacity also. Hit U to see their keyframes. The only position property is animated for this loader, something like this. And now let's turn on our corner ellipse both layers, and you can see the black ellipses. So it comes, so hit select both the layers, hit U to see their keyframes. I have set the animation for the opacity and the position, so the ellipses comes from left to right, something like this. And also I have set the corner ellipses and corner ellipses track mat set to black main shape, and also parented the ellipses to black shape. Okay, so when the black shape moves, all the layers moves with that. Okay, so yeah, and the same like this. Now hit U to hide the keyframes. Now let's turn on our white point ellipse. You can see the white ellipse with this second loader, the moving loader, something like this. So basically I have set the track mat of this to loader mask and also parented it to the loader mask. Okay, so it goes out of the box but it is still invisible. So yeah, this looks good. Okay, yeah, so this animation looks like this. Again I have applied the bounce effect to the ellipses, corner ellipses, not the white ellipse. Okay, now let's turn on ellipse stroke layer. So you can see, hit U to see their keyframes. You can see the ellipse. So I have applied the stroke on this, and again for the properties I have animated the scale and opacity properties. So the scale comes from 34 to something around 105 and the opacity from 0 to 100. So it comes like this at this frame, something like this, and it goes like this. So basically I have set the track mat to loader 2 and set the parented it to white point ellipse. Okay, so it moves, the white point ellipse moves, the stroke layer moves with that. Okay, so yeah, now hit U to hide all the keyframes. And at last our text layers. Let's quickly turn on all the text layers. So for the text, hit U to say their keyframes. Basically I have animated the position and opacity properties for the text. So the first text, which is our Toronto text, so you can see it comes from the left to right, something like this. You can see it comes from left to right. And for the second text, Vancouver, it comes from down to up, and for the third text it comes from right to left. Okay, let's see our animation. And on this again I have applied the bounce effect with the amplitude of 35 and a deep glow effect to all the layers. Okay, and same as the reverse animation, just offset the keyframes a little bit so it looks super raw. Okay, so our animation will look like this. Perfect. Yeah. Now in the final effects I have already told you sharpen effect and the noise effect. Okay, and lastly just turn on the motion blur for all the layers except the adjustment layer and the main background layer. Okay, so our animation will finally look like this. Yeah, and there you have it. Your very own stunning Apple style travel motion graphic is complete. I hope you had as much fun following along as I did creating this for you. Now here's how you can take this even further. Grab the free project file and all the assets from the link given down in the description to deconstruct it or use it in your projects. For more cool tips and daily inspiration, make sure you follow on Instagram. And if you would like to support the channel and help me make more tutorials like this, you can give me a small support by joining my Patreon page. It costs less than the price of the meal, but it means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. Keep creating and I will see you in the next one. Bye.